So welcome to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. Today is 30th of June 2025. My name is Gunnar and I'm hosting the webinar today together with Valerie Seno. Can anyone please confirm that they still see the slides?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful, good. So this is a series of webinars that I run typically monthly. I will ask everyone to maybe mute them, so that will be quite good. And then we can get onto the topic for today, which is called How to Win Clients Successfully on LinkedIn. And here I'm crossing two type of elements. This is episode 46 of my LinkedIn Power Lab webinar, but instead of explaining what LinkedIn is all about, we use this rather as a tool to first think about how to win clients, how to turn leads to prospects to clients. And I attended a webinar from Valerie last week and another one 3 weeks ago, and I really have been impressed on the way how she explains all of that in her agency, Omnitide. So a bit about myself for those who don't know me. So I'm blogging about social media and social selling. I'm a published author of 27 books with 2 more in the works to come out shortly. I'm here in Australia for 9 years, and I turned my passion for digital marketing for the second time already in a full-time role, and I work as partner manager at Active Campaign. And I'm very happy to have here also a range of those who kind of know me from that side of things. And now, quick introduction from Valerie.
Okay, thank you, Gunnar. So my name is Valerie. I'm the founder of Omnitide. We're a boutique marketing agency and we specialize in lead generation. So we work with small, medium-sized businesses, and we've identified that often when it comes to marketing, there's so many things that can happen. There's a wide range of marketing activities. So that's why we decided to specialize in one that can really help move the needle, which is client acquisition and lead generation. Because when we can sort this, at least we've got cash flow coming into the business, and we can kind of make a difference for the organization that we work with. So in a nutshell, that's what I've been doing for the last 9 years across a very wide range of industries. And yeah, thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you very much. And there's one thing where we are actually very compatible. We can both speak quickly. So that's very good. So let me get into let me get into the agenda for today. So for those who attended the series beforehand, it's typically drilled down into 3 elements, and sometimes they start with the same letter. I simply love that in my non-native way of learning English. So the first of all is to start with is a challenge, because many of us might be on social media, but it sometimes feels like wasting time. So we need to improve that. And then we talk about the clarity that we need, because when we know how to work on social, it doesn't get us client before understanding the full journey on that one. So that's what Valerie will cover with a range of slides and good points that I really like. And then I try to put it together, because we would like to utilize the power of LinkedIn to take what we learned in the second step with a couple of points that many of us have not done yet on LinkedIn. So that's the way how we get there. And please also use the chat. In the meantime, I see more colleagues joining from New Zealand, from India. Thank you. I really like that. Housekeeping, please stay muted. Use the chat for questions and comments, and we will send out the slides and the recording by email within 12 hours from now. The beauty of email automation. And watch out for something special at the end. Yes, so let's get started. How to avoid wasting time on social. And we will start this by a question. I would like to ask you, and I will write it this way in the chat. How many hours do you spend on social media per day? Any question? Keen to see. Yeah, Hassan, 3 hours only on LinkedIn, good one. Kerry, 1 hour. I remember the day when you had a really great, nearly viral post. That was a couple of years ago. 1.5 hours, Nalin, good one. So hopefully it's a good usage of the time, and that's not always the case. Another one, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. It's actually a good length. Jennifer, 1 hour, good. Too many shots. Thank you for all of the responses. There's one funny thing. When I wanted to write my upcoming 2 books, Happy Habits and LinkedIn for Startups, I thought, where do I find another 30 minutes for writing a book? Simple answer. I moved my Facebook and Instagram apps from the phone into very far behind into a folder that takes me a lot of clicks to get there. Okay, I'm not so active on those 2 apps anymore, but therefore I found exactly my 30 minutes. We all have the same 24 hours. Let's make it more meaningful and that it can work. So what are clients actually looking for? They're looking for someone who has apparently the subject matter expertise, ideally someone who solved the same challenge that they now face, a kind of a peer-to-peer relationship level that they can establish from leader to leader or from manager to manager, specialist to specialist, someone who has a relatable network and can build the know, like, and trust factor quickly. And someone who can showcase success with others, not only talk about themselves. So that's how it should look like. And being active on LinkedIn, meaning the activity called social selling, can help if you do it well, if you concentrate on what matters. When I learned social selling, meaning the art and science of using social and digital to advance the business agenda, from my coach, Rahul Kumar, already a while ago, 7 years ago, he drilled me one day into a test of 30 minutes. I had to do all of these things. And I tried to do it as meaningful as possible, not just follow someone, connect with someone, write a post. It should also be meaningful so that then, when we have the clarity of how to sell, then we also can run it properly. Let's look into 2 pyramids. So first pyramid is this one, which is a bias pyramid from the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine from Chet Holmes. And he said, and often quoted for this one, 3% of people are buying now. Doesn't matter what it is. General rule and kind of works. 7% are open to it. 30 don't think they're interested. And the last 30 know they're not interested. Out of this, when only 3% are buying now, why do many people on social media use top of the funnel content, screaming, buy me now, but only 3% do it? So that's very often missing out. We need to have the customer in mind, where they're at. We can get, in addition to 3%, in time, further 67 if you do it well. And we hit this pyramid with another one, which Valerie will also cover in her part. So that is the typical marketing funnel, which goes in from Tofu, top of the funnel, Mifu, the middle, and Bofu, the bottom of the funnel, is when somebody signs up. And think about the pieces of content. Imagine you have a service. Kerry, you are working in risk management, also finance clients and so on. So if somebody has a service like a $3,000 per month, whatever it is, from a top of funnel post, nobody will buy that. But when we can drill it down further with a couple of elements like free content, an ebook, a real book, Jennifer, you help clients writing books, an online course that gets more the trust level into that direction of converting. So that is how these 2 pyramids work together. And on the right-hand side, that pyramid, Valerie will go much further into this one. So we are on social. We need to be more meaningful on social. And there are a couple of things that really don't work. Think about yourself. You can scroll. You can consume LinkedIn like Instagram. You might even feel that there is many posts that the feed shows you, which are as irrelevant as Facebook these days. When you then, in your own behavior, like the wrong post, of course, then LinkedIn gets you more from that one. The good old days when hashtag was the only way to be discovered are unfortunately gone. So therefore, the worst thing you can do is just add more kilometers on scrolling without proper action. That doesn't work. That doesn't get you anywhere. The next one is just being stubborn. I'm born as a Taurus, so I know what stubborn actually means. But so many people, they remain passive. They simply ignore visible signals. A signal like someone has birthday, which you can use to your advantage, or avoid finding the right people and then not following up. What can you do when you attend a networking event? I went the last couple of months to BNI chapters. I grabbed all of the business cards from there. But don't do anything with it. It's just more cards. But normally they will represent a discussion I had with someone. So I need to do something with it. And the third one, silence, ignoring the power of content. So many try to sell on LinkedIn or get something from it, but they don't post at all. Some others follow gurus and post every day, and they wonder that nobody jumps on that. When you do it too often, it looks like you do nothing else than playing on social. That doesn't help either. And then avoid engaging with others is not necessarily a helping point. So therefore, missing turning their conversation into direct messaging is also that most people are not doing. So if you only scroll, if you are stubborn, and if you play silence, then LinkedIn doesn't necessarily work. So if you change this all around, you can make it work, but still something is missing. Many of you said 45 minutes. Yes, let's imagine you do just 30 and you do them very meaningful, like this one here. I don't even want to get into the details, but you can create a clear, strict rhythm of what you can do. The only thing is missing clarity. Which messages to go after, which connections to invite, what type of comment to do, what type of triggers to see, and how to fit it into a strategy, how to fit it into a proper journey of client acquisition. LinkedIn is just the instrument, it's just the tool. But what it needs is what Valerie will reveal shortly. So, and that is this part, how to attract leads into clients. And before handing over, next question in the chat. When did you find suitable prospect last time on LinkedIn? For me, last week. Someone I did not know. John, today, also. Very good. Just lucky. No, not just lucky. There's one thing that is very important on LinkedIn content. People are not waking up in the morning to find out, hey, what is he or she now posting today? A current piece of content on LinkedIn is important for one thing as well. Imagine someone is looking at a profile and then just find out what were the recent topics. Does it look like happened in May or June 25? Okay, it seems like that the person knows something of current topics to talk about. If the last post was 2 years ago, they may be out of business. But that also means you can find suitable prospects when your content is not every day. And Malin, 2 weeks ago, good one. Jennifer, you found one 2 weeks ago as well. You had a call. You converted. Wonderful. Francis, we need to help you on it. Yes, good one. And also, Carrie, you had a couple of prospects. The work is then to convert. So let's get into this one. So Valerie, stage is yours.
Thank you, Gunnar. All right. So as part of a good LinkedIn strategy, we need to have a good client acquisition strategy as well. And that's something I'm quite passionate about. And tonight, I just wanted to share with you the framework that I use when I work on client acquisition for clients. It's basically a framework that once you fix those three things, your client acquisition goes very smoothly. So the first thing, sorry, I'm just gonna try to figure out. Oops, I don't know what I did. How do I stop this little arrow thing?
Good one. I need to
Okay.
re-enable you on that. One moment. You do it again. Let me just add the remote control to you. Try again.
No, I still have some sort of arrow happening. Yes. Maybe I try.
Otherwise, you say and I move it. Now you have it.
Okay, I got it now. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for your patience while I sort out my technical issue. So, the first thing we talk about when it comes to client acquisition is, as I said, three things to talk about. The first one is traffic. Our traffic is anything when we talk about lead generation. So it's only the first, lead generation is the first part of the client acquisition. Traffic has different ways of there's different ways to do traffic. One of them being organic content is which is what Gunnar was just talking about. LinkedIn is a very powerful way to do organic and paid as well. By the way, difference between paid and organic. Paid means that you will pay a platform, whether it's LinkedIn or any other platform, to push your message in front of a targeted audience. Where organic is that you don't need necessarily to pay the platform. You put content out there and you're gonna get reach. With obviously there's a lot of element that goes behind that. Good content, value, and then consistency, all of that to get traffic. So the goal of traffic really is about getting eyeball to your business. People starting to be problem aware. Some of them might not be aware they have a problem. Then solution aware. So they might be aware they have a problem, but they don't know what's the solution and that you are the solution. And of course, then we want them to be your business aware, your organization aware, and the service that you offer. So that's the first part. There's another 3 ways to generate traffic, but tonight we'll keep it to talk about LinkedIn because that's the topic. What I like about LinkedIn is a very effective way to generate organic traffic. It's a platform that works really well organic with content and also outreach, which Gunnar was talking about when you want to start building relationship. It's not just about the sales part. You see, sales is kind of like the last part of that journey. There's other things that needs to happen first. So it's really about building genuine connection and growing your network. Let's see if I can. Yes. Then the second part is the funnel. Again, just kind of piggy back on what Gunnar was talking about with the 2 pyramids that he had. The funnel, I'll talk about it, but this is basically where we want to start moving people onto our network, onto our database, onto kind of our circle or community, whatever words that resonate with you. So we want to start moving people in a place that we can remarket to them, reach to them when we want to, and start building that connection. The last part, and obviously it's quite important, it's the sales part or conversion part. Obviously, each stage has a conversion. That's why I use sales, but there's no point doing a lot of traffic if you don't have a good converting system, so a sales process. And the beauty of having a sales process is that you're just going to have a better return on investment, and you're going to know as well if the first 2 parts of the client acquisition are working well. Without a sales process, it's very hard to identify if traffic and funnels are working well. So all of these kind of need to work together. They not necessarily need to be worked in this order if you don't have these pieces yet, and I'll go a little bit deeper on each piece in a second, but they don't need to be worked in this area. It's just about identifying which one is the one that needs more work first and then fixing all of these after. And yeah, so that's in a nutshell the 3 stage that we want to look at. So starting with can I move the
Okay.
screen? Go. Okay. Starting with traffic. Oops, here we go. So if we look at the funnel, and I like to use the funnel and use the customer awareness kind of journey into the funnel, just so if you are familiar with that awareness, consideration, purchase, and then retention. If we were going to think about the traffic, this is basically the arrow pointing into the funnel. So these are the steps before people are actually getting into your funnel. As I said, 4 ways to generate traffic. LinkedIn, very powerful one on the organic side, and also outreach. One of the things I wanted to showcase here today is just to give, I like to give a social proof that these things work. So I've got a LinkedIn profile. I don't have, tens of thousands of followers. I think I'm probably in a 2,000 mark, which is very achievable once you start being a bit active on LinkedIn. But what I like about this is I posted that I think a month ago, is how in the last 1 year, I put a bit of a screenshot here, my content's been reaching 100,000 impressions in a year. So that's just to show you the power on how if you start putting content out there, people are seeing your content and you start getting engagement. And then of course, your brand awareness will grow naturally. This was not an activity for lead generation, but it's just to show how, I guess, doable it is to start reaching out to people using that. And then when we're talking about traffic, obviously Gunnar got a lot of tips on that, but it's really about a couple of things that when I work with clients, it's really about having obviously consistency is really important because we want to build on that. It's really about identifying what is your USP or your point of differentiation, how you're going to stand out in the crowd. Obviously, I'm in marketing. It's a very red ocean. There's a lot of marketers out there. So what are the things that for me I'm going to be able to differentiate with my content and what I talk about, maybe my positioning, my point of view, all of that. So how I talk about things and how I like to share about me as the person behind the business, all of these elements. And it doesn't mean you have to do that. But all these elements will really help kind of starting to differentiate yourself. And of course, the other thing, like a really other quick tips, and I like the element, the saying of don't post and ghost. It's not just about posting content and then kind of disappearing of the platform. We do need actually, it's a platform of connection. LinkedIn is about connecting people. So when you post, you want to start going and engaging, having a look at commenting on other people's comment, especially if you have people in your network that you want to do business with. So commenting, engaging. The thing with any social platform, I work with many of them, is if you can identify what the platforms want you to do and start taking those action, you're going to be rewarded by the algorithm with your little brownie points. So the more you're going to do the things that the platform want you to do, the better it is. And what does LinkedIn want to do is connect people with people. This is LinkedIn is a platform of connection. That's why it's not called a friend like Facebook or a follower like Instagram. It's all about connecting. So if you spend more time connecting, you get rewarded in the long run. So just a couple of things to be mindful of when you start spending more time on LinkedIn. Second part is they're all important, as important the funnel, because you can have all the followers, all the connection. If you don't have a way to start bringing people into your community, then it's a bit of a, I don't want to say waste of time, but it's not going to get as good of a return. So marketing funnel, again, I mentioned earlier, I like to use the customer awareness journey because basically what happened at the top of the funnel is people starting getting awareness. Awareness is a big kind of vague word. It could be they again problem aware, solution aware, or your business aware. That's when they get onto your database, your community, and you have the power to remarket to them, whether it's by email, SMS. You can remarket to them through paid ads. So that's where we things get interesting because people become then a lead and then a prospect, and eventually we want them to be a client or a customer. The one thing with the funnel, the goal of the funnel, this what I talk about a lot. The goal of the funnel is to move people from traffic you don't own to traffic that you own. Basically, what I mean by traffic you don't own is if for any reason a social platform closed down tomorrow, not that it's going to happen, but if it does happen, if the algorithm change and you lose your engagement by half, I've seen that a lot where clients, especially on the organic side, had a lot of engagement and overnight they lose half of it. So that can be a big hole in your business if you're generating a lot of leads through social. If you get hacked, again, unfortunately, I've seen that a lot in the last couple of years, clients, especially small businesses being hacked, so they lose access to a lot of followers and connection and potential clients. So if any of this happen, unfortunately, you don't own that traffic. You'd have nowhere to talk to the people you were talking to. So what you can do instead is start moving them through a great funnel into a database that you can have access to them. You own that traffic because you decide when you're going to send an email, when you're going to send a text message, when you're going to start a campaign and remarket to them with their email. So that's that's the main purpose of the marketing funnel. The other thing I want to say about the marketing funnel, and that's a stat that I really like, and it's obviously quite old already. It's 4 years old, but it's probably even probably worse now. But data from 2021 says that on average, a person get exposed to 6,000 to 10,000 ads or marketing message every single day. So that's a lot of marketing message that we get bombarded from. That means that if we sleep on average 8 hours a day, that's about 625 marketing message every hour. So we get a bit kind of saturated with marketing message. And unfortunately, for small, medium-sized businesses, that means that sometimes people are, it's not because of your message, people are saturated, so they might not be open to your marketing message, or the your message, your business, or what you're trying to put out there might come to one ear and then get out to the other ear straight away, because people are a bit kind of overloaded with marketing message. This being said, the concept that I like when I talk about funnel is the forgetting curve, and that's data that's been researched, and what it basically means, and that's used when in a concept of learning, but I like to use it in a concept of marketing. But what that means is, by the time someone hears from you, from zero time elapsed, they remember 100% of what you taught them, or they remember 100% of what you do, because you just say, "Hey, I'm Valerie, I do marketing." But within 20 minutes, so 20 minutes after today, you will retain, after today's event, for example, you retain only 60% of what you've learned right now. And within 7 days, you will probably retain about 10% of what you have learned. So what that means is, obviously, this is a concept of learning about kind of memory retention on when we're learning things. There's a couple of things we can do to obviously lessen that curve. But it's the same principle that happen when people learn about what you do, the problems you solve, the solution you provide to people. People learn from you, so it's a learning experience. It's like, oh, this is what you do. But within 7 days, if you haven't re-engaged with them, most likely they'll remember 10% of what you do and how you can help them. So, which is why it gets interesting. When we have a marketing funnel, we can lessen that curve. And by the way, that second curve, the blue one, is not scientifically proven. This is me just trying to show how we can lessen that by having more point of contact, more automation doing the work for you, to keep you top of mind when people want to solve their problem or do business with you. So, as this is not scientifically proven, it's proven through the result that we get with clients, that the more point of contact, and that's been again also researched, the more point of contact we get in a short time frame with people, the more easier it is to convert the sale. So that's one of the many things that we want to do with a funnel. Again, that's just kind of to, if you don't have a funnel and need automation, this is a way to convince you to get to this. Finally, the last part I want to talk about is the sales process, or the conversion. Very, very important, because usually what happens when we work with clients, a lot of our clients come to us because they want to do lead generation. They want more leads, which is great, and we can do that. We can provide that. However, what often happens, especially if you've never really done any sorts of lead generation, is the minute you start bringing leads in, your conversion rate usually drops down. The reason being is because before that, if you were not doing any lead generation, your leads you were getting in were probably coming from referral or past clients, or maybe friends or stuff like that, which means that they were already highly not highly qualified, but they're way easier to convert because they come from a trusted source. When we start generating leads, so they could be people from LinkedIn, for example, whether it's paid, organic, or outreach, the leads come in a little bit colder. They might not know you as much. They might be a bit exposed to, again, 625 marketing message every hour. So they come a bit more skeptical to what you have to offer. That's why having a great funnel and a sales process will help you make sure that that conversion rate doesn't drop and you keep that high. So therefore, the money you're spending in lead generation will then have a higher return on investment with a good sales process. So that's just one of the reasons why. The other reason that's very important is because if you start spending money or spending time, which is basically money, time is money, into traffic, you want to make sure that the leads you're bringing in are qualified. And the best way to do that is to have a really good sales process. Because if, let's say, your sales skills or your sales process is not bulletproof, then it's easy to put the blame on the leads that are coming in versus knowing, are the leads actually not a good quality, or is just me that can't close the deal? So that's why all of these kind of work together. And it's very important to have these three pieces working together. So that's about the sales process. A well-defined sales process will help you do a couple of things. First is to help with consistency. As I said, then when we have a process, we can start measuring what's our conversion rate at each stage, and then we can know how many clients we're going to get for every marketing dollar we're spending, because we know that for every 10 leads, we're going to convert, let's say 40%. So we're going to get 4 new clients. So it's really easy for us to start having consistency and a good return on investment. Of course, as I just mentioned, efficiency. So again, we make sure we have a good return on investment for every dollar spent in our leads, which I think is my third part. Better qualification, again, I've just explained that, so we can know the leads are coming in, are they actually qualified? It's also about not wasting time starting a sales process, especially for high ticket offer or anyone that have a longer sales cycle. We don't want to start a sales cycle and proposal and all of that. That's take a lot of time without having qualified them. So that's what I mean by better qualification and efficiency. Improve your conversion rate. Of course, the ultimate goal of having a sales process is to increase the conversion rate or keep them high as you start bringing more leads in. And finally, a couple of measures that you want to, metrics you want to measure at each stage. So the conversion rate from every stage. So we have traffic. In traffic, we actually have different conversion rate from follower to lead. Then from the funnel as well, we may want to have a look at, you can define each stage of your funnel and decide what's the conversion rate at each stage. And then also as part of your sales process, which I'm assuming once you have it well defined, we'll have more than one step, so you can see what's the conversion rate at each stage of the sales process. And then you have an overall conversion rate, which is basically your conversion rate, and it helps you identify your client acquisition cost. The cost per lead is also very important because that's the one measure that at the traffic stage is easy to play with, and small changes. So let's say we can bring the cost per lead $1 down every month. That will make, as you would know, will make a big difference in the long term, because it kind of compound. So that's something you really want to measure on each, and you measure the cost per lead on each different traffic activity. So if you're doing, paid ad on one platform, you may want to compare to another platform instead of having it together. So then you can identify which one has a better return on investment. And then also you want to measure your CAC, or your client acquisition costs. And that's basically is the ultimate thing we want to track, because that tells us how much we can spend to acquire a new client and how much return on investment you're going to have. So we want to get to a point where you know that if you spend, let's say it costs you like 300 to acquire a new client, then you'd be happy to spend that 300. So then you get whatever your average client value is, and then you know how much you're going to get for every $300 you spend to acquire a new client. And that, in a nutshell, are the metrics that you really want to have a look at. Marketing is all about measuring. I'm sure there's a lot of other metric, and Gunnar, you can spend a lot of time talking about the LinkedIn metric that you are tracking. But on the client acquisition process, that's in a nutshell what we want to be covering. So back to you, Gunnar. I hope I didn't talk too fast, but back to you.
Yeah, thank you so far, Valerie. That was very, very deep, insightful, and I know you can go in a 1 hour call even much deeper when it comes to things like seeing numbers, comparing numbers, and that's an interesting part as well. So remember on the webinar that we had last week. So that I unfortunately can't. Oh no, I got rid of this little error, so that's fine. So the key question is then, when we know how to not be active on LinkedIn, when we know what we have to do there, then we can figure out how to win prospects using LinkedIn after having listened to Valerie and to do the clarity of the strategy. Key question to everyone now is, you can guess, so when is the last time you converted a LinkedIn contact, someone you didn't know beforehand, straight coming from LinkedIn? For me, it was May.
Sale, Gunnar?
While converting, let's say, maybe even getting into at least a verbal okay to move ahead. Oh, John, that's awesome. Contract signed. So John is this is a marketing agency in New Zealand specialized on web and using great software. So that's good one. Thank you for that. 2 proposals, but not sold. But yeah, you got them from LinkedIn, so that's good one. And I can see that recently as well. Well, thank you, Valerie. Yeah, you should know that 8 at the end is all about measuring, but I know that sometimes it's not always so easy to capture that. Yeah, so we can find people on LinkedIn. We can do something. We get them into this type of funnel that we've had when we do this kind of consistency. And of course, it runs perfectly when we have tools for this, and LinkedIn itself doesn't have that. So let's get onto the topic. So we have the 3 stages here. When we take the 3 stages from Valerie into Lego bricks, that reminds me as how I call that in my book, Connect and Act. I put it into these 4 elements, and there's 2 versions of the book so far. Connect and Act, it's the one that I published 2 years ago. And I've done another one that was last year, similar time, social selling for job seekers. And the 3rd one of this is coming soon. So I put it into 4 stages. Complete the profile, because without a proper profile, when somebody looks at it and says, oh, no, they're out of business. They're not active. No, surely not. Like you go into a store and there's nobody. There's no product. There's no salesperson. There's nobody. You don't do it. So first they need to be complete, that it looks like, at least within 2 seconds, yeah, they know what they're talking about. And then connection is to find out how can we find people actively and how can we be found reactively, and what to do with that. That is that part of it. The 3rd part is working with content, and that's the beauty of LinkedIn. And the 4th one is convert. And sometimes the content can be perceived by some people as dry, but when you hit the right people, then it can really blast quite a lot. So I remember in 2019, it was Kerry, it was you, that you once had a very interesting report about preparedness for crises. And within a short period of time, 2,000 impressions, many relevant people engaged with that. And that was really good, because these were those that you've been targeting. That comes from having a proper network, attracting the right hashtags and everything like this. And then converting it. And you can see by the Lego bricks, you first take this red one, which is long in terms of, let's say it's high, but not long in terms of time. Then you add the connect, your content, and convert. And then you do all those 3 steps ongoingly. So let's do this. So let's look first into the profile itself. So within the first 2 seconds, you can actually see something. Number 1, I have a profile photo that I hope all of you also have a very professional one. Then at the background image, that's the best real estate on LinkedIn that you can utilize as you like. That it looks professional, that it tells the story. And you can believe me, it took me at least half an hour to get the words so that they have this type of shape. So that it also works on a mobile phone. Where I'm pointing here is with that arrow down is what's there's written like view my newsletter. So as Valerie said, we need to get them into our own funnel. We need to grab the email address ideally from them, what LinkedIn normally doesn't really want to give us. LinkedIn as a company believes that the LinkedIn profile connection is a holy grail, but we all know it's not. It's rather an email address that we can reach them. So this here is this button, the premium button, which allows a couple of things. So look here at the examples. So Chief has book an appointment. I have view my newsletter. Matt also, and Justin Michael has visit my website. There's a couple of things, and this is how it looks like. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options, and it only goes for the premium profile. Those who don't have that, it doesn't work. So Jennifer, you just say you have to pay for the special link at the top where you say exactly what you want. This is only for premium, otherwise it doesn't go. There used to be, when I show an example, a wonderful example, there used to be a version for non-premium, but it's currently going away. So those like Valerie who still have that can be happy to have that and keep it, but you cannot get it if you have not added that. So what I'm pointing here is the word let's chat. What she has behind there is a landing page that goes into her quiz. And also what you can see here, sorry, the Let's Chat goes into her calendar. But what you see also what she has done in the background, the background image, that is going in 3 different ones. So she has 3 images that are scrolling through. You can see it here, a long and a 2 little ones. And that is pretty new. That came in maybe end of last year. I haven't done it yet. So you can have different messages behind there. That is good because you might have different offers, or you might have something which is more concrete, like this quiz, which is actually great. And normally you would like to start with what you do to help whom, and then maybe you want to have something personal, and that is in this type of carousel form is really outstanding. So that's the way how you can get people into your own funnel, into your own journey, and that's exactly what's needed. Obviously, you also want to have inside of the contact info, when you click on it, that you are reachable. So recently I've been looking for someone who I needed to refer to someone else, and it didn't work because the recommendation I got was a business coach, didn't have any email address, any website, anything. Sorry, then a verbal recommendation doesn't work if it's not confirmed on this side as well. So that needs to be there. You also see something else. So as Valerie mentioned, she has 2,000 something followers. That's great. But 10% of them we share. So if you want to find someone as your client, be around their ecosystem. That is much more likely when a decent percentage, 5%, 8%, you have an overlap that apparently means something. So therefore, connecting is important, not just following. Really important thing. So you can also use your featured section to get them into your own ecosystem. So this is why that's your example. You put here 3 posts. The alternative is not to only have posts, but also have links. But these show on one view, when you scroll your profile, a couple of things. Number 1, it shows engagement. 56 likes, 41 comments on the left-hand side, and so on. Apparently, what you say has value for many people. The third one shows you in video. Wonderful, because that is such an engaging feature that many people don't use well enough, including myself. But Francis, you're an expert on that. And then also what we see, you tell a personal story on the left-hand side about what you have there, the way how you quoted it. That actually tells curiosity. People want to know what that is all about. So you can use your featured section wisely, and you can have, I think, up to 10 different type of posts on there. So that way you can get people to you. Once you have done that, then our profile looks really, really good, above standard in your industry. Then you would like to find people, and there's various ways to find it, but then to connect with them. So the way how to find them, for those who have premium, I think what I would always recommend for a Friday afternoon when you think work is done, no, it's not, to check who viewed your profile in the last whatever time frame. Non-premium, you see the last 5 people. Premium member, we can see at least 30 days. So that's good. Why is that important? Because people already came to you. Remember the pyramid I showed you, 3% are ready to buy. 97 are not. And those who just watch your profile without connecting are within these 97%. Those that you need to get alongside the journey into your funnel. So therefore, when we find them, either from this, they watch your profile, they watch your content, they engage with your content, they like something, then it's a good idea to connect with them, even when you have never met them in person. And just to reveal this one, Valerie and I, we never met in person either, but we know each other for quite a while from LinkedIn, from common connections, from Zoom webinars. So it worked without meeting in person. But then when you do, have one thing in mind. There's something in terms of searching. You know the term SEO, search engine optimization, about how Google can find something. The new kid on the block is called GEO, which is generative engine optimization. How can you be found by AI? My addition to it is MEO, that is messaging engine optimization. You can see at the bottom left that I created a personal message to this guy called Joseph McCarthy from Bright Talk. So if I craft this message with 2 hooks, at least, those hooks I would later search for, then LinkedIn messaging becomes a search engine. Because I want to know, who is that person who I worked with when he was at Deloitte? And we spoke about crisis management in case I would ever forget Kerry's name. I only type the keywords in the messaging section and it comes out Kerry McGoldrick. That's the one. But I never forgot you, Kerry. But that's how that would work. So don't just say, hey, I would like to connect with you. Plant something. Plant based on your future search. For example, for my book, LinkedIn for Startups, I've been looking for some people as a testimonial who write something at the beginning, who would get an early version. So then occasionally over the last 3 months, I asked some people, but when it comes to then sitting down, sending them the version and grabbing it, I need to find out who the people were. I just search in LinkedIn messaging, the best search engine that nobody knows. Try it. The only thing, most people don't do it when they're on mobile, but you can do it. There's 3 little dots, as you can see in the example. Click on it, personal invite, and then write it. The only allowed exception, when you're at an event, you have the person in front of you. You don't want to craft a message and look at your screen. Do it afterwards within 48 hours latest. If you don't know what to write, use my custom GPT, which I have at the bottom. I call it Connect GPT. It has a lovely logo like my books. And it's also available at bit.ly/connectgpt. It gives you examples how to connect with someone, your profile, their occasion, and it crafts you along in a short version. Thank you, brother AI. That is very helpful. So next topic, content. But what should we write actually about? So I have my own system or methodology on how to use it. And that by total accident sounds like a software company called Trello. So you see it here, trust, results, enthusiasm, learning, lifestyle, opportunity. Lifestyle is not the Lamborghini, obviously not, but more about to showcase all the people around us. You see, I post quite a lot about meeting others. So that's where that comes from, showing what they are doing. And then opportunity, 1 out of 6 posts is about what I'm offering. Provide value in all posts, post once per day, not twice. It hits the algorithm. Pitch never and produce in batches is an idea. And if you recognize your real content can only be seen if people click on more or see more, then you need to have very enticing first 3 lines. Look at the posts on the right-hand side. But how do I get my whole post there, the summary of it? I simply don't take a stock photo. I combine the combination of an image and text. And I know that Valerie does this as well. And these look in the same way always, then readers who occasionally look your profile, they have the impression that you do this on purpose, on brand. That's exactly how it should be. So you can create content in a way that it should convert conversations. But as Valerie mentioned, don't post and ghost, be there after it's posted. Examples here. Left-hand side, I went, and that's actually a nice example. I went to a BNI meeting in Sydney, Macquarie Park, where I've never been before. I asked the person next to me who I once met, but never said hello to take a quick video of me introducing myself, which I needed internally. That was on a Wednesday. On a Thursday, of course, I then sent him a connection, same as I just said, and I recognized his birthday is 2 days before mine. Okay, some years apart, of course. On Thursday, day after, I met him again at the North Sydney Business Chamber. I told him that, hey, we are both Taurus, 2 days apart. Oh, you pay attention. And then he gave me his business card and I recognized, yeah, he's a printer. But he also has a marketing agency. There's a lot of big network in India where I'm prospecting. Cool. On Friday, I went to his shop in Utah Bay, 1 kilometer walking distance. And then I became his customer. Wonderful. It started by that. But it was LinkedIn. It was offline, online, offline that I made it happen. And now he registered for a couple of things as well. And then inside of this post, you can see who is commenting. And Valerie, that's yourself. You said, Patrick Reitelmann, the print isn't dead. And then I added something, and then Vishal, the printer, added something. And then further, Bridget added, Wendy added, and that was on another post. So if you create content that entices people to comment and you are on it, then it can lead to quite a lot. I really like that. The right-hand side was me about announcing my book launch for next year, May. I put a cover out. I posted about it. That will be 10 years in Sydney. That will be my birthday as well. And I said I will have a big party on Monday, 6th of May. And I posted it a year ahead. And so many people said, count me in. And I'm in as well, and all of this one. So that's building the funnel, it's building in public. You can get leads within comments. If the content is worth commenting, people do. And you can even point it further and say, hey, Valerie, have a look. You have such a beautiful way how to comment. Can you please do it on this post again? I think your expertise is asked. And that way how it works. You can really make that happen. So that was a quick run through on taking clients on from the funnel journey further and doing it on LinkedIn. I wrote 3 books about LinkedIn. So let's summarize. What did we have? And if you have any question, please also feel free to ask and put in the chat. So what we said, first of all, it's a challenge. Avoid scroll, be stubborn, and avoid silence. Normally I say silence is golden, but here doesn't work on LinkedIn. Second one is a clarity. And Valerie showed it in terms of traffic, funnel, and sales. And then I added this to create a magnetic profile. I can help on that, connect properly with prospects, and also convert the content into direct messaging. Working on LinkedIn is part sales and part marketing. It becomes marketing, talking to an audience, when you look at content. But you need to grab it away from public, because nobody wants to publicly buy something. You need to engage in a conversation. That is where the magic happens. Question in the audience. Did you ever use voice or video in direct messages on LinkedIn? Anyone ever done that? You know how to do voicemail and video on maybe on iMessage, on WhatsApp. Try it. Not all the time, but try it. Might be worth doing. When you start that, when you ever do your first video as a video message, I know, Jennifer, you have done that. Because I think you shared with me once when you attended my the webinar 2 months ago. I like that. You can do it on the mobile as you just wrote, exactly. And the ideal case is like this. When you have this video, you post a video, it has in the middle this button of play, but it exactly hits your face. So I would start this by being on the side and then come into the middle, where then it looks at least the face and the button is not exactly on the nose. But yeah, that's just about a detail. I like that. The DMs, that are really what drives the whole topic. So something coming from us. Valerie, what do you have to us for us?
As I said earlier, traffic is the first part of the client acquisition that needs to be filled. I've got a quiz that takes about 5 minutes to take, and it helps you identify what part of your traffic is broken. So it's a couple of questions, and then you'll have a little bit of a diagnostic on what you need to focus on when it comes to lead generation. So you can scan there and and do it. And then if you have any question or anything, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or anywhere else, and I can help you sort out.
Nice one. And good on you to have this as a quiz, because I once chatted with a gentleman called Ryan Levesque. He wrote a book called Ask, which is New York best-selling list, whatever, a couple of years ago already, and he created even a software for that. Quiz funnels are very converting element. So you have it while you place it there on your revolving background image on LinkedIn. And this really drives something, because the quiz has a result. As a lead magnet, it's brilliant. Thank you on behalf of all potential clients to make that happen. Really good. So, by the way, question from Nadine. What can you recommend for video recording using mobile phone? Yes, indeed. Use it on the mobile phone. But ideally, you have maybe your mobile phone when you do that on a little stand. So I have this one over here. Then maybe you can see it. That way it looks at least stable. It's better than shaking. Kerry, question?
I'll just ask a quick question. Bit just easy to do it rather than via chat. Are all followers good followers? I had a great post recently and picked up heaps of people from India and Canada. They're never going to buy from me, but I can't stop who's following me. But I don't understand the logic of that, but I just interested in your perspective on that, on the followers.
Good point. You would most likely not take those followers as your connection because you don't serve those markets, don't have maybe that local proximity or expertise for that. There will be others who can serve them better. LinkedIn maybe turned 3-4 years ago more from connection to followers when all of the bigger content creators came on it, where following means something, and because you can only have 30,000 connections but unlimited followers, and all of the Justin Welches of the world then got maybe hundreds of thousands of these followers to cater for that. But unfortunately, with followers, if so many people that you would follow but not connect with have irrelevant content or geography or whatever are not really the right ones, unfortunately, LinkedIn gives you more content of those. So that's not necessarily. So my comment would be, don't ever, when you recognize somebody follows you and they don't connect with you, okay, but don't ever engage with their content, because that only tells LinkedIn that they want that LinkedIn need to get you more of those people. No, you don't want that.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So that's for sure not. And I mean, I always carry a list of up to 100 people who I didn't connect with yet because either they didn't craft a proper message or it takes me time to realize, are they good or not good people? Because at the end, we all are gatekeepers. If I grab someone, get them in, and they would then only take the chance to come closer to Kerry McGoldrick, becoming then a second-degree connection, and then they say, hey, Kerry, you follow so many common people, and even we're connected through to Gunnar. I don't need this. I'm a gatekeeper. So be mindful of the people that you let in. Don't take anyone. It's not about the number. And on the question of that, typically people ask, do we need quantity or quality? Let's change one letter. We need quantity of quality, not or quality. We need a good amount of the right level of people with a proper density. But here, this quiz, please do this. So that's a good one. And what I would like to get in as well, a little offer as well for free. I created my third LinkedIn book. I wrote this in the month of May, and that I call LinkedIn for Startups. For those who know my first 2 LinkedIn books, which are books that you sit down and read, this one here has much more speed to it. Same length, same concept of having a double page per topic with 4 tips each, but it reads more like a LinkedIn post. It reads more like speed, no fluff, straight on. That is a statement. That's because it is. That's why it's important to you. That's how you can leverage it. Bang. Next one. A completely different, fresh approach in the more modern age. And on this link and QR code, you can get the whole book for free these days as an early access copy. Not polished yet, no further testimonials in it, no further external sources added to it, just raw as it is today. And I'm looking forward to launch it in August or September if I get a proper date for that at Fishburners, which is my favorite place to launch it, which is a very, very famous startup place in Sydney. The CEO has been favorable for doing this, but that was end of last year. Now that count me on for it. Hope it doesn't cost too much. But that would be a brilliant way to launch it. So that's coming in August, September, but here you already can get it. And following the suggestion of Valerie, if you type it in, linkedinforstartups.com, of course you would need to type in your email address and your name. Obviously, that is getting into my funnel. But don't worry, I don't spam with anything. So that's what we prepared for today. And the big surprise, the 62 slides overall, the largest number of slides we've ever had in this webinar. We managed it just around the hour mark. thank you, Valerie, so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom on client acquisition. I really appreciate and also enjoyed having someone who speaks even faster than me. Thank you for that one. And thank you, everyone, so far. Any question, please put in the chat. We are here and happy to answer to them.
I think Kerry had a question he wanted to ask.
If you don't mind, thank you. I'm sure we all receive direct messages with unsolicited requests to meet, and sometimes just straight up to buy something from someone who I've just connected with, or sometimes haven't even connected with. What is the rationale for this? Surely that must have very low prospects. Is it purely a volume game? Like, what do they hope that 1% will respond, or what's kind of the rationale for that? It seems like such an ineffective strategy to me.
I mean, there's different school of thoughts behind that. I think what you kind of answer your question in a way that, and to use Gunnar's term, they went on quantity over quality. So for me, they're missing very important part, which is building the relationship, having the authenticity behind the relationship. So it's one of the strategies that's been used out there. I'm not, there's no good or bad. That's personally not what I like to put forward for my clients, because no one like to have sales shovel down their throat, basically. It's all about, building trust, connection. And then if it aligns, it aligns. And it's more, I guess, the marketing term that I use is like inbound marketing, where yes, we connect with people, which is more outreach, outbound, but inbound in the terms where we put so much value in content out there and nudging people towards our next step of our funnel, versus kind of disrupting an early stage relationship by trying to sell people too early. That's my school of thoughts, but there's a lot of other school of thought, and clearly I try not to do things to people that I don't like to be done to me. So if I don't like people harassing me and selling me constantly, I try not to do that. So it's all about balance.
Thank you.
And Kerry, there's one nice advantage for the whole thing. If somebody tries to pitch to you something too early, that can happen. Maybe even in the connection message. The good thing is you can immediately disconnect without getting into longer conversation, maybe liking them, and then not being, let's say, don't want to hurt them, to not take an offer when they come late. Sometimes it's a very early qualification. Oh, they only want to sell to me? Goodbye, out, gone. But you would prefer them not to even come in the first place.
No, that's right. Thank you.
But it comes back to bad sales trainers and bad sales managers who don't really think with respect towards the audience. It destroys the personal brand of the agent and the company. Yes. So we will send the recording out. That's the beauty of an automated funnel that automatically comes, including the slides. Looking forward to hearing more about every one of us. And thanks for joining as well. Nalin, you're maybe the one who already joined a couple of times. Really appreciate this, because you're also based in New Zealand. And I actually think having Kerry and Nalin next to me here on the list, I need to introduce both of you, because it was a time of me working in business continuity, crisis management, risk management, that you are both experts in that field. I really well admire to have in the network. So then that would be a good one. That's for sure. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you all to the group of note takers. Hello, thank you, Fathom. Thank you. Well, it's still in the call, Fireflies as well, and thank you, Gong. Appreciate your assistance. Without you, many things would take so much longer to do. Thank you, Valerie. Merci beaucoup.
Thanks for having me again. Bye bye.
Bye bye.